I'm muted. And hello, welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate Stuff, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of real estate investing and the random stuff that makes life interesting. I'm John Whitfield, joined by Carlos Zamora from Investor Fusing, Carrot, and BP from Ted Says Hops. How's it going, guys? How's your week?
It was good. Me and BP are going to get together Sunday night, watch Derrick Henry, hopefully beat the Bills this weekend.
No, it's the Bills, bro. I went through.
You think so?
Yeah. I'm not on the Baltimore hype. I just think Baltimore is one of those teams who they always have a solid core of something for like they're one of those teams. The league always has them. They're like that solid team, but they just can't pull the trigger. I think the Bills are due. I was thoroughly surprised because I thought the Bills team sucks. I thought they got rid of so many of their studs, and then somehow I don't even know.
It was supposed to be a rebuilding year for them, yeah.
Plus, I also love, I'm a Miami fan, so F Buffalo. But honestly, playoffs in the snow, the Buffalo Bills fans, dude, the Bills are due. And I hate
it's going to be in the snow?
Well, anytime there's games in Buffalo in the winter, it's
good chance it's going to snow.
Yeah, I mean, it's Buffalo. So.
Yeah, Baltimore's going to get some snow on Sunday.
Yeah, but Maryland snow. I remember when I moved to Maryland and it was like a dusting of snow, and everyone's like, "I got to take off work. I don't know what to do. There's snow on the
That's
ground."
like North Carolina. They do that.
Yeah,
just like flakes.
And I just come from the mountains,
South Carolina,
and it's just like, okay, people, this is nothing.
We'll sidebar. We'll do a little gentleman's.
I was going with the
Ravens,
Bills and the Rams is what I was thinking, only because my father-in-law likes the Lions and I want them to lose. So I was just like, and I think Stafford's due too. So basically, this is just all about who I feel deserves
who's the most deserving of getting to it.
John, the reason
not skill.
This is arguably the best NFL professional football weekend for playoffs and stuff. So that's why me and Papa P are both chatting about that. But let's sidebar on a little bet because I feel very good about the Ravens.
Sounds like a plan.
So I'll do that. But yeah, John, everything's good this week. Cruising through January here. Excited to get some events hopefully lined up here to be traveling for Carrot, which will be exciting. Get out on the road, see some folks. Yeah, man. Good week.
Very exciting. Excited for you to travel. I know you enjoy that. Never
high leverage. I enjoy high leverage.
Enjoys going to events.
You know what? I like that it's high. I like how high leverage it is, and the face-to-face relationships are very, very powerful just for doing things and getting next actions done faster. But I love being home. Like I can go like a week traveling. I love being home more than I love traveling.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way. I appreciate how high leverage it is, though.
Yeah, for sure. I've had an interesting week. Somebody at Carrot put through this application called Replit, which was an AI powered coder. And you just chat with it and it builds things. So I went and tried it one evening and nearly tore my hair out with the amount of errors that it got, and just couldn't build anything. I was just like, and I'm probably asking it more complicated things than, the average users, like build me a calendar or whatever the heck it gets asked. But then I found another app called Lovable, which I started playing with last night. Been super impressed. Like this one is actually getting somewhere. I don't think it can build a SaaS app. Like it doesn't handle architecture very well at a complex level. But if you were to build an app that like only one team can sign into and use, like one kind of function, it seems to so far be handling that pretty well. Still got some playing around with it, but it's really interesting because it's like, that's the dream I've been waiting for. It's like, hey, I'm an experienced product manager. Like I have some tech knowledge. Like I can guide AI through like, hey, have you thought about this database structure or whatever? And so it was pretty fun, like finally actually being able to do those conversations yesterday. I still don't think it's anywhere close to, I don't know if it ever can get to the point where it could be somebody who's had the experience of the developers I work with to build architectural solutions. I don't know if it can get to that. Like multi-agent models maybe can get closer.
I was listening to Mark Zuckerberg. He did an interview with Joe Rogan. He feels, I mean, what Meta's working on right now, I mean, they're looking to essentially replace devs, and he thinks it's coming. And that's for the
For simple things, it's totally coming. Like,
like
it's writing on the wall.
in totality.
Yeah.
Um, and Joe Rogan was basically like, "Well, don't you think that's a problem?" Obviously. And Mark's like, "Yeah, I mean, it's something we got to be concerned with." But he related it back to every other invention. He's like, when this was invented, people thought the people who did this were never going to have jobs, and look at where we're at. He goes, it's just how things naturally happen. But he predicts that ability. After he gave a time frame, but I would mess it up. I don't know what it was, but
Was it under a year or over a year?
over a year. I was going to say like
Yeah.
4 years or something like that.
Oh yeah, 5 years.
Yeah.
Freak yeah.
I mean, at least for so he had a bunch of stuff, but at least for they're working on it now and have the ability. But I guess like for adoption wide.
Have
I
you
think
heard
they're
of
a ways
Klarna?
out.
Klarna and what they did?
Mhm.
So about a year ago, Klarna, I think it's Klarna, whatever, one of those payment things that are in the United States, they froze hiring about like a year and a half ago.
Oh
And they
yes, I
said-
did.
And so they went
They
to their
replaced
team and they
everybody.
said, we are not replaced. They just didn't hire anybody else.
Oh, okay.
And they froze hiring. They said, we're not going to hire anybody, but we still need to hit growth goals. And so our challenge to you is to everywhere that you would hire somebody to grow the company, to use AI instead. And what we'll do with that growth is take that profit and give it back to every one of the employees via profit share, because you guys are helping us not have to hire new people. And they successfully have done it for a year and a half now and have grown, and all their employees get profit shares. And there's like massive motivation around like, how do we use AI to optimize everything that we're doing, to code, like every aspect of the business, because it's directly tied into compensation that the employees take home. If they can build these things that keep the company on its growth plan without having to hire an additional employee, then they can get there. I think that's like super interesting.
I mean, I'm torn with it. I'm torn between I understand the efficiency and the benefits, but then there's always that Terminator aspect of it.
Yeah.
Is the Zuck episode with Rogan? Did you watch the full thing? And if so, is it worth watching the entire thing? I've seen some clips.
Oh
of it.
yeah, it's definitely worth it to see how he's grown as a person ever since. And Rogan relates it back to him taking jujitsu and hanging out with like testosterone guys. And
Yeah.
Mark made a comment about how he grew up in an all feminine type of surrounding household and all that, and then Silicon Valley and all that. But he still pulls. You could tell he's PR trained.
Yeah.
He really, and he joked about how he wasn't, and how he claims I guess still isn't. But
That's
could
101
No, he's
for
no
being
Elon.
PR trained is deflecting.
he was talking about how like it would personally hurt him. He'd be like, he would do all this training and he'd go out and he's like, I sound like an idiot and I just wouldn't want to do it again. And he's like, they would inevitably like take something I said and like clip it and do this, and they train you for these things, and then I just wouldn't want to do it. But you could tell he's grown, but he still isn't fully awakened. You could tell he's awakening and he's changing a lot with Meta, but he defers a lot back to some of his old ways of thinking, which was interesting to hear him struggle as Joe's calling him out. Joe, we're not calling him out, but just having these conversations. But yeah, so anyway, it was good. I would definitely listen to it. I was driving through multiple states. I mean, I drove for like 4 days straight. It was just the most insane trip I ever had. And it was like just nonstop driving.
Unexpected,
Get
insane
the,
trip.
uh,
No,
that
it
you
was
had?
it was the distance of everything and the time I left and then sleeping and waking up and what time my meetings were when I had to meet people meant like the way I spaced it was highly inefficient. But I made it. I made it everywhere I needed to be on time.
Well, dude, when does
Anyway.
your if you get the I think that you got the self or the auto driving feature, when does your Cybertruck land? So if you the next time you have that trip, you can just do the self drive and
I know.
you can work
Well,
while you're in there.
I think GMC. I know GMC's come out with a pretty decent one. I was waiting
On
for
what,
like Ram.
what models? Rams?
I think Ram
With self-drive?
Yeah, so I was
That's cool.
doing multiple sentences, but GMC's Denali Ultimate and like whatever their top trim levels are, the Denali or whatever, you can get it, and it's from what I hear, it's really good. And then Escalade has it, and I was waiting
Why
for
they gotta
Dodge
put
to
it in the
come out. But
expensive cars? Come on.
Escalade would be sick.
I mean, you could still get so adaptive cruise control is still very much with lane assist and all that, and that's on all basic models nowadays. So
Not all basic. We've been in car shopping. It is not on all basic
Oh, is it?
models. No.
Fully self-driving Escalade would be sick.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anything's at Tesla's level, but from my understanding, Escalade pretty much for a regular vehicle rivals what the abilities are for any other make and model.
Tesla should just like sell that software and license it out to everybody, and then keep making money off of it.
Good. I don't know.
Especially if Elon keeps bringing down the sales of Tesla.
Let's go to the
We'll see.
shareholders meeting. Bring it up.
yeah. See what they say. Oh man, how was your trip? Beneficial or not beneficial? What's the term I'm looking for?
Yeah, I don't know what
Successful.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with buying this park. It's a good park. I met this dude and like
Is this the one with the lady that you got off market? Or is this a
no,
different one?
that's the one I'm buying, but this is a
Yeah.
one in Alabama, 108 lots.
Mm.
Got like 60 lots. He knew nothing. He had no information.
Mm.
Just this old dude who wanted to tell me how much money he makes. You know the type. Driving his brand new F-250 Tremor. Doesn't understand anything about it, and then tells me how he makes $1 million every year. And then I'm
He's
like, well,
the
how
owner
much?
of the park.
Yeah. And then I ask him questions about this. He's like, I don't know. Well, how much do you charge your rent? Something like this. He's like, well, how much
Does
do
he
you make
have
a year?
like a management company?
No. So like a lot of these guys, they just I don't know how to describe it, John, but it's like he bought it really cheap from the previous owner. And rents were really low, and he paid it off, and now it's just raping.
Oh, so it's in the
You
clear.
just rape the property essentially. I was trying to buy one in Jonesboro that I had talked about on a previous episode when we had Justin on, and that guy did the same thing. Once they pay it off, they just basically rape the cash flow, and they never reinvest back into it. And he basically said that he's like, well. Yeah, I was like, well, why haven't you put new homes in? Why haven't you done this? He's like, well, I really hadn't had the money, but now that it's paid off, I've been using it and I've been thinking about doing stuff. And they always have an excuse as to why they don't. But when you're getting 15 or whatever it is, thousand a month free and clear, that comes in like clockwork on the 5th or whatever day, and you got a brand new truck, and I popped in, and he's got his new rifle and his Sitka gear and his camo and his ammunition and his hand warmers, and he's living a good life. He's spending his money. He's doing good, and he doesn't need to sell and it's like the deal. Because it's cash flow to him, it's free money. And so those are the worst kinds of owners, because eventually that property deteriorates. Because and I know, because I use cash flow to repair things in one of my parks, and I bought the one I was trying to buy in Pine Bluff, they were trying to do the same thing, and it's like, dude,
they'll run into the ground and make it so hard to like rejuvenate.
Well, think about this: if you're making $15K and adding one unit maybe makes you another $800, but to bring that unit in, maybe let's just say to ship it is like $6K, and then you got to buy it. So let's just say $10K, and that's 1 month right there. And then any repairs you have to do, right, to get it up and ready, because you're buying used, and that's another month. So for like 2 months, you're using all of your cash flow essentially. And if something else pops up, like a guy's AC or roof leak, you know what I mean? You're constantly, and so you could go years without making any money as you're trying to improve it, because before you made 15. Well, so you spent 2 months worth of cash flow to add one unit, and now you make 16, and guys are like, well, that doesn't add up for me. I'd rather keep that 30 grand.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really cost 30 grand to bring one in, but it was just an analogy, an example.
Yeah. Do you find that is, if you were to look at the percentage of deals that you've looked at, what's the percentage of mobile home parks that are run like that?
I don't know. I would say a very high percentage. I mean, I've looked at a lot, and it just depends on who the owner is, but you could tell, because there's a mix. You have your owners who have an occupied park who keep it up. But there is always something that's failing. Like, because if it wasn't failing, I mean, it would be, they're a very sophisticated, I would say they're very sophisticated, and they'd be listed on the market with a realtor on Crexy or something, getting top dollar. Mm-hmm. These people selling off market, it's just like everything else we do, right? In single family, there's a reason for it. And he knows, and he wants 1.9, and it's not worth 1.9, but he's willing to offer, it's probably worth like $1 million, maybe 1.3. Because it is 108 lots, and there's value to having those developed lots, because that park could be worth quite a bit when you fill it in and raise the rents. But He's offering seller finance, fully amortized 30-year loan, no balloon, 3% interest, interest only for the first couple years. It's a very enticing
For
deal.
1.9 though, he's not willing to go down.
He won't go down, and he wants
Mhm.
that price, and he doesn't really care. And he's like, dude, I don't care. I'll seller finance this thing and collect money for the next 30 years, and you deal with it. So there's a give and a take.
Yeah. I wonder if they have terracotta pipes.
He claims they don't. I gotta verify some stuff. I gotta make some calls, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. But it was a good trip up there. There was snow on the ground in Alabama.
Oh, nice. Your
and
son went with you? Or no, that's next week, right?
That's next week. We're going to Steamboat.
Yeah.
That's
to
gonna
work
be
on that midterm rental. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be sweet. He's gonna remember all those when he grows up.
Yeah. But and then I went down to Georgia. She didn't show up to the eviction. I literally fell asleep
Oh,
in
that's
court.
right. I forgot about that eviction.
So like,
you did a Sleepy Joe in court?
yeah. So well, you got to understand, I'm in small town South Georgia. So you go in, and they're like courtroom B. There's only A and B. There's no other courtroom. A and B. And so I go in B, and it's freaking empty. And I'm like, okay, I'm like 30 minutes early because obviously. And so I sit down, and I'm exhausted from driving from Alabama and everything. And it's like, so I sit there, and the judge, nobody's in there. And
Just
so
you're the
it-
only one in the entire
only
courtroom.
one, nobody. Apparently there was no other cases on the docket, and so like I wake up and it's like 10:15, and I kind of just am like, still nobody here. Like, don't you think like if court starts, like maybe I'm not the only case, but like if there's other cases, like people would be showing up. No, so like 10:30 when my case is supposed to be up, nobody's there. I'm like, do I have the right courtroom? So I get up and I go look in courtroom A. Guess what? Nobody there either. And like I'm wandering around this, like it's like an office building, I'm wandering around, and I go into like the one office. I'm like, hey, it's like the judge. She's like, oh, he just went in. So I go in. This motherfucker was about to leave because I wasn't there. And I'm like, shit, thank God I hustled back over there because he
Seriously.
was like looking around with his bailiff, and they were about like, they had that door behind his seat, and he was about to go back into him like, hey.
I was looking for you out there.
Yeah, I was like, bro, I wasn't going to say that, but I was just like, hey, I'm here. Anyway, she didn't show up, automatic forfeit. So I got the sheriff going to be heading out, but they put a freeze on move outs, like kicking people out because of the
Winter.
freeze.
Yeah.
Obviously pun intended, no pun intended, but it happened.
Yeah.
So I can't kick her out right away. I have to wait, and then I'll be in Steamboat. So I just picked it for the 29th, and I got my guy ready. But it sucks that I got to do that to her and her kids. I mean, she's had plenty of time. And then,
Yeah.
but she fought it. She didn't show up, which is very typical, which is why, you kind of do those things.
Yeah. So
Georgia-
like on the other evictions that you were doing where you just kind of let people go, you didn't post that to that credit, but you would in this case.
So this is posted. So like when you do a search on her, she has a case against her. So like when you run a background, like it's a civil court case. So, it's going to pop up depending on the type of search you do. And then if I'm not going to seek judgment on her. I don't really care that much about it. Now there's people in Arkansas I am suing and going after, and I'm going to garnish their wages just because I need to set an example. So it's just different. But yeah, typically I just let people go. And if you're out on time and you don't damage my property, we pretend we never knew each other. Your next landlord has no idea that you didn't pay me. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Just
You're
onward and up.
You're a cool landlord.
Yeah. It's like bring
You're
people out.
cool.
But in Arkansas, I had people break my lease. They broke my lease and they left, and they didn't feel like they needed to abide by the annual lease that they signed. So they abandoned the property.
How do you find that out when you just like they don't pay rent and then you're like, are they still there?
Yeah, so I mean, they told me they were leaving and for different
Oh, okay.
reasons, and I informed them of what was going to happen, and they didn't care, and they left, and so it's in my lease that I have the right to accelerate rent, all these things, and so now I have to go to small claims court essentially, and I file, and I'm trying to do it without a lawyer, and the city said I could, or the county or whatever, so I'm trying to do that because the lawyer is going to be quite expensive to do that. Georgia,
Yeah.
I did the eviction without a lawyer, where in Arkansas I used a lawyer before, and it was like 2 G's.
Jeez.
So you really want to be able to do it on your own with like your manager to go on site, something like that. So I'm working on trying to do that in Arkansas too, save money.
Interesting.
It's always something, bro.
Never a dull moment when you're a mobile home park. Cesar.
I know.
There's
I
always
know,
something.
dude.
That is true.
So, I was seeing you guys see like everyone who's moved to Phoenix, pretty much Scottsdale.
I
Like, you see, like, it's
closely
like,
know
Besides
some
Nick
people that are
Perry-
moving
besides
to
Nick
Scottsdale.
yeah, well, he's like the latest one, and like then I was like watching his stuff, and like everybody that's all there, and it's like, holy shit, dude! Like, this is like the biggest bros club I've ever seen. Oh, it's like bro mecca.
Papa P
Mhm.
moving out there.
No, that's not my vibe. I was never. That's like sitting at like the jock table in high school, and like that's not my vibe at all.
What was your
Well,
high school table?
I mean, I was on the football. I was on varsity, but that just wasn't. I just sat with my friends. Like,
I was at the nerd
Man of the
table.
people.
I don't know if you guys could imagine that.
yeah, we could. We didn't need to ask. We knew.
Yeah.
Papa P.
I thought it was evident. What table were you at, Carlos? I know you played soccer.
I bopped around. Yeah, usually basketball team and soccer team, but I kind of bounced around everywhere.
Yeah.
I could see that about you.
Yeah, me too.
What do you guys think about this TikTok shutdown?
I don't think
It's
it's
I
gonna
heard
happen.
like yesterday was going to get delayed,
So-
but then the
What
Supreme
is it? Today,
Court
tomorrow,
upheld
or is it
doesn't-
today?
It's irrelevant.
Sunday.
So what's actually happening is they're not banning it per se. They're banning it from the app stores. So if you have it on your phone, you could still use it. Yeah, you can
Really?
still use it. Yes, 100%.
My friend is a side
I don't
note.
do
My
that.
friend is
I don't use TikTok.
Dan Martell's doing a book signing like 2 minutes from my house right now. My friend's over there. I told him I
Nice.
couldn't go.
Dan Martell, he should buy it.
You should.
There's a lot of people fight it. I heard Mr. Beast wants to buy it and then give it away.
I just can't see it going away. There's too many people on there. But also
Well,
the app.
it'll
Apparently the app
ban.
won't just disappear. The app won't
No,
like disappear. There's just not going to be updates.
It's-
So people will still be on there for the next 6
You-
months to a year, probably.
No, so you cannot get it out of any of the app stores. It'll be banned from being able to be downloaded. But if you have it existed, you could keep it, but you just can't update it, and it'll work until it doesn't work anymore.
Exactly.
But Trump will be in office, and he'll lift that ban. And you know what I mean? And boom, boom, boom. So yeah, it'll be banned, and then it won't be banned, and then maybe they'll sell it to somebody like Mr. Wonderful or Mr. Beast or,
Who's Mr. Wonderful? Oh, that's the guy from
Shark
Shark
Tank.
Tank. Yeah.
He wants to buy it. Mr. Beast wants to buy it, and obviously people are joking about Elon buying it, but I don't think that fits what he wants to do.
I've been talking with a guy
I'm
who
surprised
is-
Meta didn't buy it.
Well, they have Instagram. They want TikTok to go away because they want
Yeah.
everybody who's on TikTok to go use Instagram.
Which is why I would buy it and shut it down.
I guess. I mean, most people cross
That'd be an
post
interesting play.
anyways.
I mean, Elon bought Twitter and lost 20 billion overnight just because he overpaid for it. It's
But
like,
have you heard what he's doing or going to do with Twitter? Like X Mail's coming out,
Oh, yeah.
X Payments is
I've-
coming out.
this
Like,
has
he's
been
trying to make it. What's the WeChat? He's trying to make it like WeChat.
yes. If you've known Elon or like his history, he has been planning this since the day.
PayPal days.
Yeah, exactly. This has been. He just never had. He wanted to do it with PayPal, but that was
Mhm.
before social media kind of existed, and he wanted to do that currency payment, remittance, all that. But obviously, he lost out to the Peter Thiel side of the investment
Yeah.
team, and he couldn't. So
Yeah.
he's waited, and here you go. And he's gonna have I hear people are making good money on X. The creator fund, like I hear the creators are doing good. It's really hard to grow. I tried growing my X. I just can't figure out the algorithms of like text, video. But I was telling Carlos they have an app for your TV. You can watch
Mhm.
X on TV
Mhm.
now. I mean, he's growing. Everything he's done has been successful pretty much. So I'm sure this will be just as good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what X looks like by the end of the year for sure.
Just the next, you keep saying a year. I mean, I'd even say a couple years. Like it's like time just doesn't exist in these things. Everything takes time.
Yeah, yeah. Can you guys hear my dog throwing up over there?
Bro, how about this? This has nothing to do with real estate, but I got a mouse in here I'm trying to fucking murder.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
I tried to get him out the peaceful way. I bought these things and I had to talk with him. I'm like, listen, dude, like I'm gonna buy these sound things that are supposed to scare you away. I just need you the fuck out of here. I got new ductwork, insulation stuff. Like I don't need your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Saw him. I thought he was gone, and then I saw him again, and I'm like, all right, bro, that's it. Like I don't want to. You're making me do this. I don't take pride in having to kill one of God's creatures, but if you cross me, I will murder you. So I got my little electrocution chambers out. And
What?
Oh yeah, I have electrocution chambers for a mouse.
Like they
What is
put
that?
food in it and they go in it and it just electrocutes them.
So basically, it's a pressure plate. So it's a box that you have hooked up to a pressure plate, which is hooked up to wires, which is hooked up to the battery power. And when he goes into it, it basically the door shuts behind him and it just electrocutes him from his little feet up, and he's just.
When are you going to catch him? What's the Vegas timeline of like he's going to get caught?
Usually it takes me 2 days. The last time when I killed Frank, it took me a while.
Frank
was smart. Yeah, me and Frank had this thing for a while. He was in my house. He came in during a storm through the chimney. It was actually a rat. It was a tree rat. And he fell through my chimney, and then he had babies, so it's Frankette. But I nicknamed him Frank before I knew he had babies, and I killed every one of them too. But like, dude, I had
with
with
the same method, the electric.
No,
box?
well, that's why I got it, because Frank was smart and he was stealing the food off the typical snap traps.
Wow.
And like I was watching him in my cameras, and I watched his little eyes look at me, and I felt like he was mocking me. So I Googled like a different way, and I found these like electrocution boxes. And and that's what I got, and I killed him, and then I thought he was done, and then it turns out he had like 4 little babies, and then they came out looking for food when Frank was dead, and I killed each and every one of them too. And then finally, that was the last time I had a mouse in my house, and now I have one out in my office, and he's gonna die.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Mouse Hunt from 1997? I'm
No,
just
but
picturing that. It's like Home Alone, but these 2 guys, they get like this old decrepit house and they're going against a mouse.
That's what my life is like. That was what it was like with Frank. Frank was terrorizing our house. He lived up in my daughter's room.
Oh,
and, I'm split, so my daughter would only come half the time, and she apparently disobeyed house rules and had all kinds of food up there. And so he had basically was up in her bunk bed and had all of her food, and it was just rats, they like peel it. It's just shredded, everything. Pockies, candy, everything shredded. And she opened the door after having not been with me for a week or more, and Frank literally leapt off the bed at her, out the door, scurried downstairs into the kitchen, where I threw my dog and my cat into the kitchen and told them to go murder him. They both stared at me like, "What do you want me to do? I'm house." And I was like, "Both of you are fucking worthless. I'll deal with it myself." And it took me almost a week to kill all of them. I mean, it was a long, drawn out battle.
You should watch Mouse Hunt. It's a good laugh.
I felt like it was like the Persians against the Spartans. It was like Thermopylae. You know what I mean? Like it was wild.
What entices them to go in the new box? Is there food in there?
You put food in there. So
gotcha.
now, and I was questioning last night. I was like, do they eat we only eat sourdough. And I'm like, do they eat sourdough bread? Do they know that it's like healthy, and maybe they want like white bread, Wonder Bread? So I put some organic peanut butter on a sourdough bread, and now they're not eating. I'm like, fuck, maybe I just need to put some like salt and vinegar chips and some gummy bears in there or something. he needs like unhealthy food. He doesn't like the organic vegan lifestyle or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh my God,
he doesn't like plant-based.
Give him a souped up gummy so at least he goes off in peace.
They don't
give him a CBD gummy.
There's not enough time. Once you're
it's like instant.
You fry. Yeah. And there's enough battery power in there, I think, to fry a couple of them. So
keep us posted, dude. I'm curious.
Listen, you want to know what's weird? And so I don't know the dichotomy of this, but like I was going to do some research about the relationships between squirrels and rats, because I had a squirrel in here, which is what I thought it was, because I found caches behind our gym before it was my office, caches of nuts behind like plates and stuff. And I'm like, man, he must be living up there. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like, I don't fucking care. I leave the door open all the time. Squirrels wander in. So I had left a month or 2 ago on a trip, and my daughter made me these little like drawings with acorns glued on them. And I came back, and it was on my desk, and I came back, and all of my acorns were ripped off and disappeared from the painting she made me, and there was like little turds around it. I'm like, this fucking squirrel, bro. This is it.
You're sending a message.
Kill this squirrel. And so, like, and then I find out it's not a squirrel. Now I have a mouse because I saw it in its little tail. So I don't know if the squirrel came in, but I heard a fight one day. This was like a month ago. I heard scurrying up there. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's just two mice. I'm thinking the rat or the mouse came in, fought the squirrel for territory. The squirrel had to leave, go back to the trees. And now I have this like king rat living in here who's outsmarted my traps thus far. And here's where I'm at today. So,
This is totally
I'm
like Mouse
curious.
Hunt. Oh my god!
I want to
This
hear
makes
how
me
it
want to
goes
watch
in
this
the
movie
future.
with my kids now.
yeah, so I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah, dude, keep us posted.
The escapades of mobile home parks and mouse hunting. Oh jeez, man! I'm trying to think what else is going on.
Red 3. What's the Red 3 that got? Is that
Yeah,
the?
I find it so funny.
The hell is Red
That-
3?
And did you hear that Steak and Shake is now going to use beef tallow instead of seed oils?
That's amazing.
And
I need to text my friend. He's the biggest Shake Shack fan.
But here's
know.
the thing: it's still non-GMO.
Oh,
fucking.
you're talking
poison
about the
potatoes.
dye Red 3?
Yeah, it's just funny that all this before they take office is all people are voluntarily like, I will do this. I will fall on my own sword. You do not need to make, because they all want to be the leader in it now. Everyone wants
Mhm.
to be like, this was my choice.
It's marketing. It's also marketing too.
Yeah,
like
they're
now
the
it's
first ones.
it's at the point it's so widespread of like civilians are now realizing how unhealthy this stuff is. Now it's good brands.
Yeah, like all the news
All that
articles
stuff.
about ultra processed foods, alcohol causing cancer, like so much stuff came out since.
I'm
the
literally
video.
texting my friend right now because he's the biggest. But no, I mean, overall, good things are happening. You know,
Did
you
you
can
see
credit-
though the
you can
Red
credit
3? It's
the
2027.
current administration is going to get some credit for it, which probably will be happy about. But I'm just happy that it's happening. We're making progress in a lot of different areas. The hostages apparently are getting released in the,
Yeah, Biden-
the Middle East. There,
I love how Biden took.
yeah, you guys,
took,
you joking me?
Yeah, he took credit. He took credit for that, and it's like, okay, dude, doesn't matter as long as it's done.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that's it for today, guys.
Shorter episode. We were supposed to have guests today. They will come
Yeah,
back
we need
next
them
week.
rescheduled.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
Maybe
get
not next week.
rescheduled on
Probably
that.
not next week because Papa P's traveling. We'll get them.
Oh, that's
we'll
right.
get 'em scheduled.
All right. Lock 'em up.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, have a great weekend. Enjoy your football.
I'll keep you guys updated on the mouse.
Please, I
Yeah.
genuinely keep me posted on that. That's funny.
Oh, I will.
Be excited.
I'll send you a photo when I kill him.
There you go.
I love that.
Post it to Let's Talk Real Estate X channel.
Yep. Boom. Lock and load.